The cost of being needed. I stopped answering my mother's calls on a Tuesday, and by Friday, she was crying on my doorstep with an eviction notice. But let me take you back. The fluorescent lights in the hospital billing office hummed like wasps trapped in a jar. I sat across from a woman whose name tag read, Patricia, here to help, but whose eyes said she'd rather be anywhere else. That'll be 47,329 hours, she said, her fingers dancing across the keyboard with practiced indifference. My hands went cold. For the appendectomy? My voice sounded small, like it was coming from someone else's mouth, plus the complications. The infection required an extra 3 days. Patricia slid a printed invoice across the desk. The numbers swam before my eyes. Your insurance covered 12,000. The rest is your responsibility. My phone buzzed. Mom, third call that morning. I declined it. I'll need to set up a payment plan, I heard myself say. Patricia's expression softened slightly, the first crack in her professional armor. Most people do, honey, most people do. 6 months earlier. Sarah, baby, I just need 2,000, just until my disability check comes through. Mom stood in my kitchen, her hands wrapped around the coffee mug I'd given her for Mother's Day 3 years ago. The one that said, "World's Best Mom" in cheerful pink letters. The handle was chipped now. Everything about her seemed chipped. Her nail polish, her front tooth, the edges of her voice when she asked for things. Mom, I gave you 1,500 2 weeks ago. I know, baby, but the car needed work. And you know I can't get to my doctor's appointments without the car you bought instead of fixing the perfectly good one you had. Her eyes filmed over. The tears came so easily now, like she'd installed a faucet behind her eyelids. I thought you'd understand. I thought my own daughter would want to help her mother. My brother Marcus appeared in the doorway, phone in hand, not looking up. Just give it to her, Sarah. It's easier than listening to this all day. Marcus lived in my house, rent-free, for just a few months that had stretched into 18. I looked at my mother, at my brother, at the stack of medical bills on my counter from the emergency appendectomy I'd had 3 months prior. Pucker, the one that happened while I was at work, trying to earn enough to keep all of us afloat. Okay, Mom, I said. The relief on her face should have felt good. It didn't. I was 7 when I learned that love meant solving problems. Dad had left on a Sunday. I remember because cartoons were playing, and Mom turned off the TV to tell us. Marcus was 5, sitting on the floor with his action figures. He didn't cry. I did. It's okay, baby, Mom said, pulling me close. She smelled like cigarettes and drugstore perfume. We don't need him. We have each other. You're my little helper, aren't you? I was. God help me, I was. At 10, I learned to forge her signature on forms when she was too tired to deal with school paperwork. At 12, I started lying to the landlord about when the rent check would arrive. At 15, I got my first job at a grocery store and learned that my paychecks made Mom smile in a way nothing else did. You're so responsible, she'd say. Not like other teenagers. You're special. Special meant useful. I understood that, even then. The day I graduated college, the first person in our family to do so, Mom didn't come to the ceremony. I'm having one of my migraines, she'd said on the phone that morning. You understand, don't you, baby? You know I'd be there if I could. Marcus had come, but only because his girlfriend at the time dragged him. He spent the ceremony on his phone. My best friend, Jen's family, took photos with me. Her mother hugged me and said, "We're so proud of you." The words landed wrong, like a dress that almost fit, but pulled strangely at the shoulders. That night, Mom called. "Did you get that check from your aunt? She said she was sending you $500 for graduation." "I haven't checked the mail yet." "Well, when you do." "I hate to ask, baby, but my electric bill is past due, and you know they'll shut it off without warning." The check was for $500. I gave her $400, kept $100 for the used textbooks I needed for my first semester of graduate school. I told myself this was what family did. This was what love looked like. The hospital social worker's office smelled like old coffee and new desperation. "Miss Chen," the woman said. Her name was Rebecca, and her eyes were kind in a way that made me want to cry. "I've reviewed your financial situation. You're working full-time. You have a master's degree in social work, and yet your debt-to-income ratio is concerning. Can you tell me more about your expenses?" I could feel the words stuck behind my teeth. Pride tasted like metal. "I help support my family." "Your mother and brother?" "Yes." "And they're unable to work?" This was where it got complicated. This was where the truth had edges that cut coming out. "My mother has fibromyalgia. She gets disability, but it's not much. My brother, he's been between jobs." "For how long?" 2 years. Rebecca wrote something down. When she looked up, her expression had changed. Not judgmental, but knowing. She'd seen this before. Women like me, people like me, the ones who caught everyone else when they fell, even when our own legs were breaking from the weight. "Sarah, I'm going to be direct with you. You can't afford these hospital payments and continue supporting 2 adult family members. Something has to give. They're my family." "I know," she leaned forward. "But who's taking care of you?" The question followed me home. Who's taking care of you? I sat in my car in the driveway for 20 minutes, watching the lights glow in my own house. Marcus was inside, probably playing video games. My house, my utilities, my food, my Wi-Fi. My phone rang. "Mom again?" I answered. "Baby, I've been trying to reach you all day. Listen, I had to put down a deposit on a new apartment. The landlord at my place is being unreasonable about the noise complaint. And I'm short 800. Can you Venmo it to me tonight? They need it by tomorrow." Something in my chest went very quiet, like a bird that had been singing its whole life suddenly realized it could stop. "No," I said. The silence on the other end was thick enough to drown in. "What?" I said, "No, Mom, I can't give you money right now." "Sarah, I'll be homeless. You want your mother on the street? You've been in that apartment for 3 months. This is the 3rd deposit you've needed. Well, the first place had mold and the second place—" "Mom." My voice came out steady. I didn't recognize it. "I have $47,329 in medical debt. I'm on a payment plan that takes half my paycheck. I can't keep doing this. I can't believe you're being so selfish after everything I've done for you. I raised you alone, Sarah. Alone. You're not alone now. You have a boyfriend who lives with you rent-free. Rick is having a hard time. Everyone is having a hard time, Mom. Everyone." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but my chest felt lighter, like I'd been wearing a coat made of stones and had finally shrugged it off. Marcus confronted me that night. He stood in my living room, in my house, eating my food, and said, "Mom called me crying. What the hell, Sarah?" I told her I can't give her money right now. She's going to lose her apartment. Then maybe Rick should get a job, or you should help her. He laughed. Actually laughed. "I'm broke. You're 28 years old. So, you've got a good job. You've always been the successful one." There it was, the belief that had shaped our entire family dynamic, carved into the bone of every interaction. Sarah has it together, so Sarah should fix everything. "Marcus, I want you to move out." His face went through several expressions at once: shock, anger, disbelief. "You're kidding." "I'm not. I need you out by the end of the month." "Where am I supposed to go?" "Mom has a 2-bedroom apartment. Rick can move out and you can move in. Or you can get a job and rent a room somewhere. Or you can figure it out the way I've had to figure things out since I was 15 years old." "You've changed," he said, and it sounded like an accusation. "Yeah," I said, "I have. The next 3 weeks were war conducted through silence. Mom called 17 times. I answered twice. Both conversations ended with her crying and me feeling like I'd kicked a puppy. Marcus moved out on the 29th, taking my good blender and pretending he hadn't. I let it go. Small casualties in a larger battle. Jen came over the night after he left. She brought wine and Thai food and sat with me on the couch while I cried. "I feel like a terrible person," I said. "You're not. They needed me. They used you. There's a difference." "Is there?" Jen set down her wine glass. "Sarah, in the 3 years I've known you, I have never, not once, heard your mother ask how you're doing. Not after your appendectomy. Not after your breakup with David. Not when you got promoted. She calls when she needs something. That's not love. That's convenience. The words landed like stones in still water, creating ripples I'd feel for years. 2 months later, Mom showed up at my door on a Friday afternoon. I saw her through the window. I'd installed a Ring doorbell after Marcus moved out. One small measure of control in a life that had felt uncontrollable for years. She was crying. Really crying, not the performance tears. She held papers in her hand. I opened the door. "Baby, please, I'm being evicted. They're putting my stuff on the street next week. I have nowhere to go." "What happened to the deposit I gave you in March?" "I had expenses." "What happened to your disability check?" "Rick needed—" "Where is Rick now?" She looked at the ground. "He left." Of course he did. Men like Rick always left when the money dried up. They were very good at identifying which wells were deep and which had run dry. "Mom, I can't help you." "Can't or won't? Does it matter?" She looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something flicker across her face. Recognition, maybe, or the first crack in a foundation she thought was solid. "You're really going to let me be homeless?" "You're not going to be homeless. Marcus has a job now. He can help you. Your boyfriend can help you. Your sister can help you. But I can't. Not anymore. I'm your mother." "I know." My voice broke. "And I love you. But I can't keep drowning to keep you afloat." She left without another word. I closed the door and slid down against it. My knees pulled to my chest. I cried for an hour, not for her, for the version of me that had believed love meant sacrifice until there was nothing left to give. For the little girl who thought being useful meant being loved. For the daughter who'd set herself on fire to keep everyone else warm. 3 months later, the therapy office was small and comfortable, with plants that someone actually watered and art that didn't come from a hotel liquidation sale. "Tell me about the guilt," Dr. Morrison said. She was in her 60s, with grey hair she didn't dye, and a face that had earned its wrinkles through smiling. I'd been seeing her for 6 weeks, mostly talking in circles around the thing I couldn't quite name. "I keep thinking I should check on her, make sure she's okay." "But you don't." "No." "Why not?" I picked at the edge of the couch cushion. "Because if I do, I'll get pulled back in. She'll need something, and I'll give it to her, and we'll be right back where we started." And where was that? With me having nothing, being nothing. Just a checking account with legs. Dr. Morrison nodded. "You told me last session that your mother used to say you were her little helper. What did that mean to you as a child?" The answer came faster than I expected. It meant I mattered. It meant I had a purpose. And now? Now I know it meant I was useful, not loved. Useful. Can't it be both? Not the way we did it. I learned Mom was staying with her sister through the grapevine. A cousin who felt compelled to tell me what a terrible daughter I was being. I listened politely, and then blocked her number. Marcus got a job at a warehouse. He called once to ask if he could borrow $50. I said no. He didn't call again. The silence should have felt empty. Instead, it felt like room to breathe. 6 months later, I was promoted at work. The director of the non-profit, where I'd worked for 3 years, was retiring, and they offered me her position. More responsibility, more salary, more purpose. Jen threw me a party, a small one, just close friends, people who knew me as Sarah, not as someone's solution to their problems. "Speech," someone called out. I stood in my living room in my house, filled with my chosen family, and felt something unlock in my chest. "I'm not good at speeches," I started. "But I want to say thank you. A year ago, I was drowning. I was so busy saving everyone else that I forgot how to save myself. And you, all of you, you threw me a life preserver. You didn't ask me to fix you. You just loved me." My voice cracked. That's a revolutionary thing, you know? To be loved without having to earn it. To be valued for who you are, not what you can provide. Jen hugged me after, whispering in my ear, "I'm so proud of you." The words fit perfectly this time. 9 months later, Mom called. I stared at the phone for 3 rings before answering. "Hello? Sarah?" Her voice was different, smaller. "I don't want anything. I wanted to hear your voice." We sat in silence for a moment. "How are you, T?" I asked. "I'm okay. I'm staying with Laura. She's helping me get into some programs. I'm seeing a therapist." "That's good, Mom. I've been thinking a lot about the way things were, the way I asked so much of you." My throat tightened. "Yeah. I'm sorry." 2 words. So small, so inadequate, and yet they carried the weight of decades. "Thank you," I said, because I didn't know what else to say. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I deserve—" "Mom!" I cut her off gently. "I'm not ready for this conversation. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm glad you're safe. But I can't. I'm not there yet." "I understand." We hung up a minute later. I sat with the phone in my hand, feeling strange, not happy, not sad, just at peace with the fact that I didn't have to feel anything right now. 1 year later, the coffee shop near my office had become my Saturday morning ritual. I'd bring a book, order a latte, and sit by the window, watching people live their lives. Mom and I talked once a month now. Brief calls, surface-level topics. She told me about her therapy. I told her about work. We didn't dig deeper. Maybe we would someday. Maybe we wouldn't. Marcus had moved to another state for a better job. He sent me a friend request on Facebook. I accepted it, but kept him muted. Small steps. Jen got engaged. I was maid of honor. At the bridal shower, Someone asked if my mother was coming to the wedding. No, I said simply. The woman looked shocked. Oh my God, why not? Jen intervened before I could answer. Because Sarah's family is whoever she chooses, and that's beautiful. Later, Jen asked if I was okay with her response. Yeah, I said. Yeah, I really am. The hospital bill was paid off on a Tuesday. The final payment of 347.29 felt momentous and ordinary at the same time. I sat in my car in the hospital parking lot, looking at the paid in full notification on my phone, and cried. Not sad tears, not happy tears, relief tears. I'd done it. I dug myself out from under the weight of everyone else's needs and built something solid, something mine. Dr. Morrison asked me once, "What do you think you lost by setting boundaries?" "My family," I'd answered. "And what did you gain?" I'd thought about it for a long time. "Myself," she smiled. "That's not a bad trade. I sponsor a teenager through the Big Sister program now. Her name is Michaela. She's 15. Growing up in a single-parent household, trying to keep her head above water, while her mom works 2 jobs, and her little brother needs constant supervision. I feel guilty," she told me last week, sitting in my kitchen eating the snacks I'd bought specifically for her. When I think about going to college, leaving them, I looked at this girl, this smart, capable, exhausted girl, and saw myself at her age. "Michaela," I said carefully, "you know what they tell you on airplanes? Put on your own oxygen mask first." She nodded. "There's a reason for that. You can't save anyone if you're suffocating." "But they need me." "I know, and that feels important. It feels like love. But real love, healthy love, it doesn't require you to set yourself on fire to keep other people warm." She looked at me with eyes too old for her face. "How do you know when to stop?" "When you realize that you're not helping them grow. You're just enabling them to stay exactly where they are. And in the meantime, you're disappearing." I don't talk to my mother much. We exchange texts on holidays. Sometimes she tells me she's proud of me. I'm learning to believe her. Marcus is doing well from what I hear. He has a girlfriend, a steady job, his own apartment. I like to think that cutting him off forced him to grow up. Or maybe he would have done it anyway, in his own time. I'll never know. That's okay. I'm dating someone now. His name is James. He's a teacher, patient, kind. The first time I tried to solve one of his problems, he gently said, "I've got this, but thank you for caring." It felt like coming home. Sometimes I think about the Sarah I used to be. The one who answered every call. The one who said yes when she meant no. The one who believed that love meant erasing herself. I don't hate her. She was doing the best she could with the tools she had, but I don't want to be her anymore. Jen asked me the other day if I ever regretted it, cutting my family off, setting the boundaries that felt like walls at the time. No, I said, I regret that it had to happen. I regret that they couldn't love me without needing me. But I don't regret choosing myself. That's growth, she said. Maybe. Or maybe it's just survival. Either way, I'm still here. Still breathing. Still learning that I don't have to earn my place in people's lives. I'm enough just being. The phone rings sometimes, late at night. Mom's name flashing on the screen. I don't always answer. Sometimes I do. Hi, baby, she says, and her voice is tentative now, careful not to ask for anything. Hi, Mom. We talk for 5 minutes, 10 on good days. It's not much. But it's honest, and that's more than we ever had before. This is what I learned. You can love someone and still say no. You can be a good person without being everyone's solution. You can have boundaries and still have a heart. The people who truly love you won't require your destruction as proof of your devotion. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is save yourself. I'm standing in my kitchen on a Sunday morning, sunlight streaming through the windows I cleaned yesterday. Coffee brewing, music playing softly. No one asking me for anything. This is peace. It doesn't look like I thought it would. There's no triumphant music, no dramatic vindication, no moment where everyone realizes they were wrong and I was right. It's quieter than that, smaller. It's just me, learning to take up space in my own life. Learning that I don't have to be needed to be worthy. Learning that sometimes love means letting go of people, of expectations, of the version of yourself that you created to survive. My phone buzzes. A text from Michaela. Thanks for yesterday. You make me feel like it's okay to want more. I smile and type back. It is. You deserve more. We all do. And I mean it. For her. For me. For every person who's ever confused being used with being loved. We deserve more. In the end, I didn't get revenge. I got something better. I got myself back. And watching my family face the natural consequences of their choices, learning to survive without using me as a crutch. That wasn't cruelty. That was the most loving thing I could have done. For them. And for me. Some people never learn. Mom still calls sometimes, falling into old patterns before catching herself. Marcus and I are cordial strangers. But I learned that you can't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. I learned that boundaries aren't walls. They're doors you control. And I learned that the only person I'm truly responsible for saving is myself. Everything else is just noise.